So
That's
he's a
why.
quack because he spent his entire life researching and in programs to find out what this is. But you
Queen.
that are what in your
Didn't
20s,
create
you know
the
better.
mRNA
No,
vaccine.
he
Stop
researched
getting
it.
your
Okay, biologist then.
information from
How you doing,
Facebook
Artemis?
posts.
Can I just
You
bring up
don't know
something
what you're
really
talking
quickly,
about.
Blackbird, can I bring
Yeah,
something
hey,
really
Artemis.
quickly? Because this has been very upsetting for a lot of people in the comments. Ma'am, you keep saying that 46 chromosomes make someone a human. People born with Down syndrome do not have
Okay, you're
46
talking about
chromosomes.
abnormalities now. Now you're going into
No,
abnormalities.
I'm actually
You
a
are not.
biologist. I'm
Okay,
a
but so it's not.
biologist.
Is that not an abnormality then? Yes, it is.
No,
If you have an extra
it's
chromosome,
not.
it's an abnormality.
Do you
in
not
the chromosome
understand?
cycle, obviously you're not a biologist if you don't understand that.
Ma'am,
Oh my God,
nobody
can
is
you
an
not say that?
abnormality.
Do you see what I've been going through, Artemis?
Yeah, no,
Oh
I've
my
been here the
God.
whole time. But
Yeah,
I
you
think it's
guys
really
still don't make any
disrespectful of you
sense.
to say that 46 chromosomes makes a human because
Okay,
not everyone has 46 chromosomes.
abnormalities happen, ma'am, and as a biologist, you should know that's why
That's
they're called
scientifically not a
abnormalities.
correct term.
Yeah, it
Would
is.
you like
So
me to
he's saying
educate
it's
you
an
on it, or do you
abnormality.
want to sit in your bubble?
I mean, you're
Are
the one that
people
is
with-
saying that. So you're
let me
saying.
interject here real quick. Queen, do you think that people with Down syndrome, based on your definition that a human has 46 chromosomes, do you think that people with Down syndromes are human?
Of course, people with Down syndrome are human because they were born with an extra gene. Doesn't make them any less of a human. That's an
Awesome. We got
abnormality.
your answer. Now, 40. They do not have 46. So you agree that there are things that do not have 46 chromosomes that can be human, correct?
Of course. So now you're saying that.
Right.
Because
So if
it's
a
a
sperm,
human.
hold on. So if a sperm has 23 chromosomes, is it not human?
No.
Yes, it is.
It's
there
human
you go.
DNA. It's human. It's part of human.
You can't draw an arbitrary line at.
Okay,
like, you
so
can't
then
say
if abortion,
if you say exactly
make
46 chromosomes and anything that doesn't have 46 chromosomes doesn't fit your criteria, then your logic is inconsistent.
No, because the sperm cannot become a child on its own.
Yes,
even with abnormalities. You need an egg.
Hold on. Neither can a fetus. A fetus can't become a child on its own.
A fetus already has everything in it to become a human.
Okay, then why don't we just take it out? Then why don't we just take it out of the mother? Then why don't we just take it out of the mother? Then why don't we just take it out of the mother and let it develop on its own?
It's the mother's responsibility. I mean, they're already working on it.
It's not. No, it's not.
We're not talking about responsibility. We're talking about viability, right? You said that a sperm can't become a human on its own. I said that neither can a fetus.
You said that a baby was. Oh my God! Now you're being aggressive and violent.
Shut up! Because you keep talking over people.
No, that only shows the responsibility of the way the logic.
I would love to educate. I would love.
Nobody can finish a single sentence. Nobody can finish a single sentence with you on here.
Illogical and wrong.
No, nobody's being illogical. You are what you're doing right now is called stonewalling.
Now you're
stonewalling. I have 2 biology degrees. Allow me to speak.
No,
please allow people to speak and then respond afterwards. That we can't hear if everybody's talking over each other.
Right. So let me finish
let Blackbird speak. You respond. Artemis, you respond to that, and we'll just keep going down the line. Let's do that.
Yes, I would love to speak on some things.
Artemis, let me just finish this one quick point, and then
go right ahead, Blackbird.
I'm done. I'll give the floor to whoever. Okay. So if you say that a sperm can't become a human on it, can't become a baby or whatever on its own, I'm telling you that a fetus also can't do that on its own. It needs the mother. So if you think that a fetus can develop on its own, we should just remove it from the mother and let it do that. Go ahead, Artemis.
Okay. So there's been a lot said, and I want to clarify. So in science, having an extra chromosome is not labeled as an abnormality. We have categories for this. It's labeled as a mutation, which is completely different. First of all, it's not dehumanizing by saying someone was born abnormal, by specifying that it's a mutation. So I wanted to clear that up first, because that was really bothering me. Second of all, I think everyone here has acknowledged that it is a human. I don't think anybody here has said anything that it is not a human, that it is not a form of life, it's not a form of human life. Everybody here has agreed it is human. What we are trying to talk about is about the resources to which the fetus, embryo, whatever stage you want to talk about, needs during the process of pregnancy. The fact of the matter is that a lot of people like to talk about how just because you lie down and have sex, that you have consented to it. If that is true, then that consent goes for the entire pregnancy. Meaning, if you consented to sex, you consented to pregnancy. meaning that consent is ongoing while you are pregnant, meaning at any point in time, if you believe that consent can be revoked, at any point in time, the woman has the right to revoke that consent.
Queen, go ahead.
So if you decide to consent in playing Russian roulette and then you get the bullet and you die, then can you unconsent to playing the game?
No, because you're dead.
Russian roulette is literally putting a pew pew to your head and playing Russian roulette. So you wouldn't get the chance to not have a say in that.
Okay, so but you do have the ability to use birth control to prevent an unwanted pregnancy.
And I'm glad you brought that up. So I've used every birth control that there is on the market. They all make me sick. And I'm actually still being denied a tubal ligation and a hysterectomy due to my age. My husband wears a condom every time we have sex, but 51% of abortions are due to failed contraception. So do you believe that since people are using...
can go to your doctor and ask, and they're going to ask you to fill up a questionnaire. You just sign it that you have all the consent to get your abortion. I mean, your tubes tied, and that's it. That's
I'm glad you brought that up. I left my OBGYN yesterday and was basically told to go to a different doctor. She denied me a hysterectomy yesterday after 4 months.
You have the option to go to a different doctor. Denying you a hysterectomy would be that you are not allowed to get a hysterectomy.
Yeah, she denied me a hysterectomy.
A tubal ligation is one thing. A hysterectomy is a bigger procedure that is going to be probably more difficult for you. You can just go from a tubal ligation and not go on.
I'm glad you're telling me about my health. I'm glad you're telling me about my health. I was told that a tubal ligation wouldn't help me because I'm having medical issues that are going on. So that's the reason that tubal ligation is not an option for me. But the fact of the matter is that I was pawned off on another doctor, and you live in the state of Texas, as do I. Have you recently been to a women's health care clinic lately?
Yes, I do.
So how long did you have to wait for your appointment?
Not very long. Like,
can you give me
a day?
It was the next day. That's incredible because all of the areas around where I live, it's over a month.
Well, I go to a different city for a different doctor. I sometimes travel over an hour and a half to see my doctor.
Do you believe that a woman should have to travel an hour and a half to be able to get an appointment with a physician?
I travel an hour and a half for work. Many people in different states travel over an hour just to get to work.
But we're talking about Texas.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I have to travel over an hour to go to work.
Okay. So I live in Houston. It's over a month to a month and a half to see an OB or a gynecologist.
So if I call a doctor in Houston and make you an appointment,
I would love that. That would be amazing. If you could find me an OB in the city of Houston that follows my insurance, that would.
Around it. You can even go to San Antonio. You can go to San Marcos. You can go to Austin.
I know. I used to live in San Marcos. So if we're going to San Antonio, that's a 4-hour drive. If I'm going to San Marcos, that's 3.5 hours. I've actually seen every OB in San Marcos.
Every single one. Now you're talking that in such a big metropolitan area, there is not one single OB that can give you an appointment.
I'm just explaining to you what I've been. Why would I go back to OBs that were refusing me treatment? First of all, why would I go back to them? I lived in San Marcos for 5 years.
You have, right. So you're not being denied a hysterectomy. You have the option to go to a different physician that is going to take care of your needs.
Do you know what energy this is giving to me? If you don't like your job, just get a different job.
Well, I mean, technically, if you don't like your job, you need to get a different job.
Okay.
If your job requires vaccines, guys, just get a different job.
Exactly. I did.
There you go.
I think you're missing the fact, and there are women in the comments that will back me up on this, that women are not being allowed access to tubal ligation or even to a hysterectomy because they need it.
That's not true at all whatsoever. That would go against the doctors.
She's telling you that it's. She literally just told you that it happened to her.
Okay, so happening to her is okay for the whole world to agree with abortions.
No,
but my husband died from the shot. It's like my story. You cannot even add that one to the picture, right? Because then
we're not talking about vaccinations. We're talking about abortion.
We're not talking about vaccines, right? So we're not talking about all these other things. We're talking about mothers or women who have the ability to prevent unwanted pregnancies that are just killing their babies.
So are you okay then with the 51% having abortions then, since they did everything they could?
Nope.
Then your logic isn't sound.
You're
Yeah, that's
I
what
already
because
said
you got
that
that
people
out
who
the
are
box like
SA
very early
and
on. She doesn't care about responsibility at all
oh
because
no,
like,
you
even
yeah,
by
you
do.
her
don't give
It's
a shit
your
about
definition of
responsibility
responsibility.
not to get
she goes
pregnant.
against the abortion.
Does she make exceptions for SA or incest?
I think she
Yes,
does.
I said
Okay,
yes.
that's good. At least you're consistent in that. But
Okay, so in the past like 4 or 5 months that Artemis hasn't been able to like get these appointments, do you think that she should like remain abstinent from having sex at all?
She's obviously see. This is her personal life. If
Do
she
you
wants
think
to
that
have a
do you
baby,
think that
if
Artemis or
she, see,
anybody
it's
in a
her
situation
job.
like
It's
her
her
should
decision.
be forced
I
to
am
remain
not gonna.
choice.
abstinent
It's her
so that they
her
don't risk
decision to decide
pregnancy?
that. So it's
This is
up
a
to her
very
to get an
simple
appointment very
question.
quickly.
This is a
No,
very
I'm
Her
not
choice,
going to
right?
decide on her. She
fascist.
needs to
Be
look at her
quiet.
insurance and her
Fascist. Be
doctors.
quiet.
Oh
Be
my
quiet.
God,
this
you're
is
being
Fascist.
not just my
abusive.
Do you
story.
You're
This
being
think?
is
abusive.
thousands of
You're
women's
using
story.
hate
Do
speech. You're
you
being
think?
disrespectful.
Do
I'm
you
not even going
think?
to answer to you anymore, Mr.
I,
Blackbird.
okay, so do you think that anybody who's in Artemis's situation who can't get a hysterectomy abstinent because even people who use contraceptives and married couples become pregnant? So do you think that these people who are trying to do the responsible thing as you claim
That if you are for body autonomy, then people should not be mandated and asked to get a COVID shot.
you're pivoting? If you answer my question, I'll answer yours.
Bradley.
If you answer my question,
Bradley.
I will answer yours. Brad, the Vecna, please. 4 chimes. Queen, you have 4 chimes to answer the question.
Bradley, I told you I wasn't going to talk to that guy. He's already being abusive and disrespectful. I don't need to
You
answer
have
any of
4
his
chimes.
questions.
I would say that you're being abusive by trying to restrict the bodily autonomy of women.
That's not
Very.
abusive, and I'm not
Yes,
even.
it is.
I'm not
Yeah,
even going
it
to talk to that
absolutely is.
guy.
Yes, violating
He's
the bodily,
delusional.
like your
And
ideology that
I'll answer her
violates the bodily
question.
autonomy of women
I'll answer
is
her
inherently
question. It's
abusive.
super easy. I can answer her question super easy, and we can move on from that. So, if you're talking about mandates from private companies, you should take that up with the capitalistic America.
Are you communist, Queen?
You are.
How am I
Abusive
communist?
too. You're abusive to women.
You don't believe that companies should be able to do whatever they want?
You're abusive to women. You gaslight. You deflect.
Okay,
She
you're
wants
just
to
saying
You have
words
increase
no
the
now.
powers of the
experience.
government. She wants to increase
I,
the power of the government against women's
I
bodily
speak to all
autonomy.
fascists this way, by the way. I speak to all fascists this way.
Well, good for you.
But am I wrong, Blackbird? Am I wrong about that? Because like the thing is that America is capitalist. We actually give rights to companies. So if a company mandates a vaccine or has a mass mandate, I'm going to support that because that's the capitalist movement here in America. I don't know why you wouldn't support that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that the pharmaceutical companies
Because
shouldn't have profited off of the vaccines?
I'm going to respond to Ms. K. So, for example, in Texas, there are laws that they cannot mandate a vaccine or a mask. That's why I said
Yes,
your
by the
voices are
government.
important. Your voices are important to speak
Yes,
up.
the government can't do that.
You need to speak
You're missing
up.
the fine print.
Your
The government can't do
your
that.
governor is the highest authority in your state. Your
But
own
he cannot
state
tell a
has
private business what to
constitution.
do.
If
He
a
cannot tell a
business is
private
going to
business what to
practice
do.
here, right? So in Texas, he has the ability to tell a business that if they want to do
No, he
business
doesn't.
in this state, they have to follow protocols. So, for example, if you walk into any Walmart in Texas, people aren't wearing masks and people are not getting shots. So
Yeah, because that's a
technically in Texas,
choice.
exactly, because it's a choice.
Yeah, but if
So-
they
Wait,
suddenly
so like
put
the
up a
governor
sign,
should be able to tell businesses that they can't allow anybody
Again,
who's
the governor
unvaccinated into their business, right?
made a decision based on what the people wanted.
Sure. So, like in California, for example, let's say the governor wanted forced all businesses to require all their guests be vaccinated. That would be okay, right?
I won't go to California.
okay, I
but
don't think you're
that
quite
is within their
understanding the
purview,
law
right?
that Abbott passed. So I'm going to try to explain it again. Private businesses cannot be dictated how they run their business by a government entity unless it is
they can.
encroaching Okay, no, they can't.
They cannot.
It's unless they're encroaching on civil rights.
Get a shot. I agree. They can't. That's why companies
So if
aren't
your
mandating
job, hold on. So if your job is to mandate you to get a vaccination, you have the choice to find another job.
Right.
That company can still mandate that you're vaccinated. Are you aware that people who work in the medical community have to be vaccinated for everything?
I'm not vaccinated with the COVID shot, and I work in the medical community.
We know.
Oh, yeah. we know. Trust me.
And I work in the medical community.
You follow the sheep.
What is the medical? Can you tell me what do you do in the medical community?
I'm a nurse.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. Why are you all
do you work
nurses?
in a nursing
How come
home?
every anti-vaxxer I speak to is a nurse?
I do not work in a nursing home. See,
you
because you need to understand the definition of a vaccine.
You work in a nursing home?
I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I have all my shots, and so do my kids. I'm against the COVID injection.
What is a vaccine?
That's not a vaccine.
COVID vaccine is a vaccine.
Part of a virus, whether it's dead
that's
or
not
dormant.
true.
And
No,
you give it
that's
to a
one type
person.
of
Oh my God!
No,
nope,
it's not.
That is a vaccine.
Not true.
That is a vaccine.
Let me explain this. Let me explain this to you, nurse. I'm an engineer. There are multiple different types of vaccines. When you said that it's one part of a virus, that is one type of vaccine. There are other types of vaccines that do not include the live shell, which
is the vaccine. Okay.
It's not. It doesn't have the COVID virus.
You're correct. It doesn't. What it has, though, is the genetic makings of the
something that has a virus so that your body can produce
that's one type of
natural
vaccine.
immunity. No, that is a definition of a vaccine. Just because the definition
is not
changed online just recently doesn't mean that it undoes many, many years of what a vaccine is.
You don't know what a vaccine is.
Can you research pathology versus genetic?
But I don't think it's going to help.
2013, June 13 of 2013, Supreme Court decision. Pathology versus Marriott Genetics.
Yeah. So
you brought that up on me before, and I debunked that. That was
so the whole process isn't going. Explaining the process isn't going to help anything. But I want to talk about what the COVID vaccine has opened the doors for in medical community and in science. Is that now we're working on an HIV vaccination. Now we're working on a ALS vaccination, as well as, I don't want to say it's spina bifida, but I know it's another one that really hurts a lot of people, and I'm forgetting the name. If someone's in the comments can help me with that name on the third one.
What's inside that COVID shot?
What's inside that COVID shot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can pull out the ingredients list for you if you'd like me to.
This one is not a nurse.
Fibromyalgia, yes. Yeah, I have the ingredient list right with me. If you'll just give me a few seconds, I can pull that right up for you.
Do you know what a toxoid vaccine is?
Do you know of all the kids that have been dying from heart disease?
Answer my question. Do you know what a toxoid vaccine is?
Do you know how many kids have been dying from the shots? You agree with the shots, right? You agree with the shots?
Why are you avoiding my question?
No, because
do you know what a toxoid vaccine is?
I know what vaccines are. I know exactly what vaccines are.
Do you know what a type of vaccine that is called a toxoid vaccine?
I know, dude.
What is a toxoid vaccine?
I'm asking you. How many children have been dying?
How are you going to respond to me with a
how
different question?
How many children have been dying? No, how many children have been dying?
What is a toxoid vaccine?
The fact that now you are pushing vaccines when many individuals are already taking it to court and people are already getting payoffs because the vaccine has infringed on their lives from their companies for safety.
You know what? I agree. We're on the same page. 100%. What is a toxoid vaccine?
Okay, I got it. I got the ingredients list.
What's a toxoid vaccine? Let's
read the ingredient list.
Which one do you want to look at? Pfizer or Moderna?
Let's talk at Pfizer.
Okay. So Pfizer has lipids. It's specific. Do you want me to read off the lipids to you? What is lipids? It's a
do. So you can explain.
Wait, you're a nurse and you don't know what lipids are?
No, I know. I know what they are. Just because I asked her to explain it to everybody doesn't mean that I don't know what they are.
So can you
What is
give
it?
like a rough definition of what lipids are?
She's gonna explain
No, what is a
every
lipid?
single thing.
Can you?
Queen,
No,
what is
no,
a lipid?
no.
Can
See,
you?
I'm
Can
asking
you?
her a
Can
question. Why are
you?
you guys
Can
gaslighting and
you?
deflecting? You
Can
guys are
you
just
tell
wanting
me
to.
what?
I can answer the question. I just
Can you?
Yeah,
No,
they're
Artemis,
just
I
trying
know
to
you can answer the
deflect.
question. Artemis, I know
And
you can
this
answer the
guy,
question.
I already
Queen, can you
said.
give me just like a
No,
brief
I'm
like
asking her.
definition of what a lipid is?
She's
I'm
gonna
curious.
explain
I
it to
don't even know
us.
what a
No, no,
lipid
no,
is.
no,
What
no.
is a
She's
Because
gonna explain
lipid?
everything to us.
honestly,
So
if you can,
everybody can
are you
understand. No,
stonewalling so that
she's
you can like look up the definition of what a
no.
lipid is right now?
She can explain every single
You're a
ingredient so
nurse
that
and you
everybody
don't
can
know
Artemis,
what a
ask her
understand.
what
lipid
a
is?
I
lipid
know
is.
You
what
need
it
a
is, dude. Let
definition
her
for a
speak.
lipid?
Bradley,
Let her
I don't
speak
mind
for the
telling you.
audience.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Okay.
So,
Let her speak for the audience.
Point proven.
All right,
Point
Artemis,
proven. Go ahead, Artemis.
their main role is to protect the mRNA and provide somewhat of a greasy exterior that helps the mRNA slide inside the cells.
And what else is in it?
Did you want me to list the specific lipids, or are you okay with that?
No, I'm okay with that. What else is in it?
Okay,
So to
salts.
say what is a woman, we asked what is a
salt?
lipid.
Salt. What are salts? I can list the salts that are included, and this is going to help balance the acidity in your body. So we have potassium
What else is
chloride.
in it?
Okay, but I'm reading the salts off. Wouldn't you like to know which salts? There's several different types of salt.
Okay.
Yeah, so potassium chloride, monobasic potassium phosphate, sodium chloride, and dibasic sodium phosphate dihydrate.
And what else?
Sugar.
What else?
And then we have the mRNA.
What is mRNA?
What is mRNA?
Mm-hmm.
So it's created from. I'm sorry.
No, I was talking to my dog.
Yeah. So the most basic way I can explain it is that it's created from DNA so that the DNA is sending a message that's messenger
DNA.
the DNA is inside the nucleus of the cell.
But where does it come from? You don't get that DNA from a plant or an apple or a banana. Where does that DNA come from?
Are we circling back to abortion on this? Like, is this a weird circulation?
Funny story. What's RNA and where does it come from?
But RNA isn't DNA.
What you said it's DNA. It comes from DNA.
No, I said mRNA, messenger RNA.
But messenger RNA has RNA. Where does RNA come from? You said from DNA. Where does that DNA come from?
So now you want me to define where DNA comes from?
No, where do they get that? Because you need to explain to the audience that RNA comes from human DNA,
explain.
so that everybody can understand on the comments what I'm trying to talk about. So RNA
You're not talking
comes
about
from
anything.
DNA.
You're having me explain all of it.
Comes from DNA. Okay, so RNA comes from DNA. In order for you to get RNA, you have to have DNA sample. You don't get a DNA sample from a live human being. You have to get DNA sample that the cells have not been programmed to go into a specific part of the body. Therefore, you get that DNA from aborted products, babies. Because they have mother cells that have not been
hit that conspiracy.
allocated.
So, did you know that viruses have a code?
But we're talking about RNA, and you said it came from DNA, and where is that DNA coming from?
So yeah, let me explain this. I would really love to. It's actually one of my most intriguing topics.
You don't have to tell me how intriguing and how lovely it is. Tell me where the DNA comes from.
I'm going to explain something very, very easy for you. So the reason that scientists have debated for quite a long time is if a virus is alive or not.
Where does the DNA come from?
I'm trying to explain this to you.
No,
the DNA came from the virus.
The DNA didn't come from the virus?
Artemis, can you explain to her the process of transcription?
The process is, I'm going to have to pull out my old biology textbooks to go.
See, that's what you don't want. That's what you don't want people to understand. The DNA comes from the product of abortion.
I just answered it. No, it does. Okay, explain this, please. Oh, hold on a second. Explain this to me then. Why would we be taking DNA from aborted fetuses to put into a vaccine to then inject into people? What would that do?
Okay, so see, because you cannot create DNA synthetically from the air.
No, we
a
got it from the
banana.
virus.
No, sweetheart. You got the DNA from the aborted babies.
So viruses don't have DNA?
Viruses have, see, this is the thing. The COVID virus is not in the mRNA vaccine. It's DNA. It's regular
Can you
helix
prove
with
that?
a synthetic. Ma'am, yes, I can.
You can. So you can prove to me that they didn't take the DNA out of the COVID-19 virus and find all of the areas that use that DNA to then create an mRNA that can be safely put into. Use that DNA to then create an mRNA that can be safely put into. Who's echoing?
Yeah,
Not
somebody's
me.
echoing there.
Let me mute and see if it's me.
Hello? Yep, it's you, Queen. You're echoing.
Yeah, try muting yourself and unmuting yourself.
Hold on. Now?
Hello? Yeah.
Now?
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
We're good?
Yeah, so I'm looking at right now at a paper. This was published in August 2021 about the genetics of COVID-19. So the process of creating mRNA vaccinations has been going for several decades. And that's why we were able to speed this up, because we actually had almost all of it figured out. We were actually trying to create a vaccine for SARS-CoV-1 due to how lethal it was, and we were afraid that it would come back more contagious. So that's why we were able to quickly do this. But
Can you hear me?
also, if we weren't even injected with stem cells, that could be curing us of so many things. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, I'm looking at a paper that was published last year. It's with the National Library of Medicine, and it's talking about the genetics of the COVID-19 virus. It broke it down 100% completely. I've got here the genome. I've got the 4 structure proteins. I've got all of it right here sitting in front of me. I even have the entire sequence that they have built out, like 100%, right here. Let's see here. Looking at the spike proteins, the nucleotides, amino acids, all of that. So I don't really understand why there would be stem cells in the vaccine, but I mean, I would implore you to look into ibuprofen, because that does have fetal stem cells in it.
Can you hear me?
All right.
I'm sorry.
Now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes,
You're
we
good.
can hear you now.
I'm sorry. I was just talking and I didn't know if you guys could hear me. So again, RNA comes from DNA. DNA is the 2 helices together. One of the strands on its own, that is the RNA. So they create a halo on its own that it has similar coding that is being able to merge with the human helix in itself to create something to look like the normal DNA form, which is that in itself with the different coding that is put in there, that it's the spike proteins will be able to be put into a nucleus so that it's injected into you, which goes, and it does actually also affect, your ability for your human immunodeficiency syndrome to start
Are you
happening.
saying that the vaccine is going into your nucleus?
The vaccine is going into your liver.
Into my what?
Into your liver, which is actually
into my liver.
Which is actually the area where these mRNA's new formation cells are actually binding with your DNA and multiplying. And once it starts multiplying, you can't undo what is already done.
So
with the mRNA
I don't know how to explain this. So messenger RNA physically can't go backwards and recombine with your DNA.
That's incorrect.
It literally can't enter the nucleus.
That's why they're saying that when you get the shot, it starts producing these spiked proteins, and after 6 months,
Where? In the nucleus or in the cytoplast?
Let me
What
play a
produces
video
that?
for
Is
you.
it the ribosome or is it the nucleus? Since you're the nurse, you should know this. Where does it produce those things? In the nucleus or in the ribosome?
In your body.
Yeah, clearly it's in your body. It's not on a fucking bicycle. I'm asking where in the cell does it produce it? Is it in the nucleus where the DNA is, or in the ribosome outside the nucleus? You're not a nurse. I'm sorry. You are not a
Yes, I
fucking
am.
nurse.
How come you
Oh my
say I'm not a
God.
nurse, dude? Are you serious? I just give me a
You
chance.
can't even
I'm coming to
answer a
my
basic
because you
biology
guys
question
are
that
on
everybody learns
in
in
front
high
of your
school.
computers. I just walked inside trying to get on my computer because I mean you guys love to read off of articles with these big
You
words.
don't
Why
need a
don't we
computer
speak
for
in
that
a
as a nurse.
I
I'm
just pulled
sorry.
up an
Yes,
article
sometimes I
to prove
do.
that the virus had genetic sequencing. But my issue, because I do know what I'm talking about. My issue here is that what these vaccines did is they skipped this did is that skipped the 10-year period to which we had to wait to grow harmless samples of it that we can implant into a vaccination. We expedited that process. So now instead of you having to get sick with the virus and then develop antibodies like that, we are telling our bodies how to develop those antibodies without getting sick from them.
So you're basically saying that when you have a 99.97% chance of survival from the flu, that you are willing to inject your body with a new synthesized mRNA product that the researcher who was ahead of the research of these
There were
mRNA
several. You're going to have
shots,
to specify.
Robert Malone,
No, he was not the head
stated
researcher.
he was, yes, he was a head researcher.
No, I'd like to actually give credit to the people who did create it. So give me 1 second. I want to make sure I have their names because that's really disrespectful to not give credit
It's
to
not
scientists.
disrespectful. I mean, and sometimes, dude, people just need to get over it. Freedom of speech, right? I'm sorry if you get
No, this is
offended,
actually
but that is not protected
disinformation. This
under
is
the
misinformation that
It's
I'd
not
like to correct.
misinformation. No, it's not.
Okay, so when I look this up and Robert Malone's name does not pop up, so there are two Penn researchers.
Because he's being censored.
He's being censored by
No,
Google.
he didn't do anything to help with the creation. He was a part of it, sure, but he didn't actually create it. In fact, it was Caitlin Carico and Drew Westman.
The research department.
The research department.
I mean, where do you do the research, dude? At the library? They're talking about medical research.
Yeah, I'm aware of how it goes. I'm aware of how it works.
It's just.
Let's see here. I'm seeing
Dr. Robert Malone never went to Penn State. He never did research at Penn State. You lied.
Yeah, I'm seeing Pittsburgh. But you know what? I will answer your question. So about the flu is actually quite deadly for a lot of people, and I highly recommend getting the flu vaccination just because. The only thing I like to advise people of is that there's several different strains of the flu. They try to predict which one is going to be the most prevalent, and sometimes they miss. That's why we have really bad flu seasons is they don't know, they got the strain wrong. The reason why I'm 100% for the COVID vaccination is not only the giant leaps we're now making for vaccinations for people in the diseases that have never had cures or any sort of treatment, we now can finally have opened up that door to help people, is also the fact that this is a brand new strain of a virus that we've never seen before, which is why it spreads so rapidly upon the planet. When we don't have any sort of other virus that we've experienced, it can be quite deadly. And I think that anybody dying from a virus that could have easily have been prevented by simply getting a vaccination or wearing a mask or keeping distance is absolutely heartbreaking. Because I care about the people in our world that are immunocompromised, that are going through different things like cancer treatments and and having to need a heart transplant and things like that, where their bodies can't handle getting sick. So I got vaccinated not because I was concerned that I was going to die. I got vaccinated because I wanted to make sure that I didn't kill anybody along the way.
Dum 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 dum.
And honestly, the vaccine saved my mother's life. So I'm pretty on board with it.
There you go. Queen, are you there? If not, I'm going to have to drop you. Oh, well, that's that. It's usually how it goes. You know how it is.
Thanks for letting me on for some of that. That was fun.
Swing and knockout.
Yeah. Well, someone said her galaxy.
Oh my God. Was that to me?
No, that was to her.
Oh shit.
I mean, she is living in her own galaxy, so I mean, it kind of fits.
Yeah. Hey, send me a galaxy, damn it. Yeah, her own reality.
Oh
I had her
God.
on before, and like we were talking about the same thing before, and like she still doesn't get it. And yeah, I don't believe she's a nurse at all. At all. I think she works in like somewhere in the healthcare field that required like very little like medical knowledge.
Yeah, and I do want
Because
to
there's
bring
no
this up
way
just for the stat.
I know more about the cell than she does if she's a nurse.
Let me